about the sorry about the delay on getting started. We was trying to connect with my moderator in India, who last week fell ill, which is why we didn't have our live stream last week. Don't worry, it was not COVID. He's okay. But yeah, we're doing another live stream here tonight. It's an Ask Me Anything. So as the world's online coach, I'm here to answer your questions. And whatever you guys have, whatever you want to know, if you have questions about your technique, training, nutrition, anything like that, you just go ahead and let me know, and I will do my best to answer that. I was going to stand in front of my television again, because that seemed to be a pretty popular format for most people to see. But instead I went ahead and just got a webcam and an OBS software. So soon, once I get a moderator who can sit in on my live streams with me, we'll be able to show you guys stuff a lot easier just on the screen. And I'll just be in like a little corner of the screen, and then we can watch the video together a lot easier. But until then, no problem. I will use my iPad to show you guys any videos that you may need to see in order to understand the technique that I'm describing. We're gonna go for about 1 hour. I'll go for at least a full 60 minutes. Probably take a break in the middle. And when there aren't any questions, I will go ahead and pull up a swimming video and we will start discussing it. Okay. Awesome thumbnail. Thanks, Yacky Snacky. All right. Let me see. No questions yet. I thought I saw a question come up. No problem. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Let me pull up a video. We will start with backstroke today. That's not the one. That's not the one. There we go. All right. We're going to start with backstroke today. When you're swimming backstroke and you are having troubles with your legs sinking or maybe moving forward in the water, keep your kick a little bit smaller. A lot of times people, their legs start sinking because they're trying to kick too big or their kick is too not coordinated enough. But if you can keep your kick nice and small and tight, you'll have a lot more success keeping your legs up while swimming backstroke, okay? Probably the 3 most common questions we get from our subscribers is sinking legs, how to get your breath, and how to stand up in the water. All right, let's see that question that just came in. I need a solution for not getting water in my nose when working on side breathing. Okay, yeah, no problem. There is a solution for that. Circular breathing, rather. You gotta breathe in with your mouth and out with your nose when you swim. Now, I prefer to just leave the nose out of the equation. So I typically only breathe in with my mouth and out with my mouth. I never even use my nose. Sometimes water starts to linger in my nostrils, so I'll blow out of my nose, but that's an exception. So that might happen one time every length or every other length or something like that. The other reason I don't have to blow out of my nose very often though is because I can also cover my nose with my upper lip like that, called the duck face. So, but if you are getting water up your nose while you're practicing side breathing, you're probably just too used to using your nose to breathe while swimming. The ultimate goal would be to eliminate the nose from the equation altogether. But until you get there, what you want to do is you want to breathe in through your mouth at the side, and then when you put your head in, start blowing out of your nose. The reason for that is because as you lose oxygen, you'll want to turn to the side sooner and breathe, which you should. In swimming, you should be breathing continually. You shouldn't be holding your breath. That's a myth. Okay, swimming is not about holding your breath. You wouldn't hold your breath when you run or bike for exercise. You shouldn't hold your breath when you swim. You need that oxygen flow in your muscles to keep them firing. So you breathe in with your mouth to the side, out with your nose in the water. And so as you're exhaling, air is coming out of your nose. And if air is coming out of your nose, it's impossible for water to go up your nose. So keep the air steadily flowing out. Now you don't have to blow all your air out at once like you're blowing your boogers in a tissue, right? You don't have to blow out really hard. Just a soft hum, or if you don't want to hum at all, you feel like that's goofy, you just a light exhale. Okay? So in through the side, in through your mouth to the side, out through your nose in the water. Now, that should keep water from going up your nose. When you turn to the side and you're ready for that breath in, don't breathe in with your nose, and maybe you might want to spit a little bit of water away from your mouth as well. I found that common for a lot of adult beginners. They don't like that water lingering around their mouth or their nose. So if you're breathing in with your mouth, out through your nose, when you turn to the side, save enough air to spit the water away from your mouth as you turn to the side, okay? Lastly, a lot of times people struggle getting their breath to the side because they're picking their head up. So I'll pull up a video here to show you an example of an adult beginner who struggles to keep her head down in the water when she breathes. That sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? Keep your head down in the water when you breathe. Well, you're not keeping your mouth underwater. Your mouth will be out of the water because you're going to be on your side. So when you're on your side, oh, by the way, Daniel here, we're going to make him a moderator because I think Neeraj is still not feeling well. So Daniel's now moderator. That's my brother, by the way. Thank you for moderating the chat for us tonight. And if there are any other professional moderators out there who are maybe want to contact me, we can maybe do business. I have just about located that adult beginner. I think I passed it, so now I'm backtracking just a wee bit. Here we go, found him. All right. So this adult beginner also has a hard time keeping her head down in the water when she breathes to the side. You'll notice here, she'll pick her head up when she breathes to the side. Did you see that? She picked her head up, okay? That causes the legs to sink. So a lot of you have sinking leg problems. It might be your head position that you're struggling with. But for her legs are sinking because she's picking her head up too high. She's also having a hard time getting her breath because she's picking her head up so high. When you pick your head up, your body sinks in the water. That puts your mouth dangerously close to the surface. You want your mouth and your nose to have plenty of space between you and the surface when you breathe. So the best way to do that is actually to counterintuitively dip your forehead down, because that pops your chin up. And I like to tell people, especially kids, I like to say, your mouth is on your chin, not your forehead. So why would you pick your forehead up, dropping your chin near the water? That's putting the water right there where you breathe. Instead, what you should do is dip your forehead down in the water, which pops your chin out of the water. It also allows you to get just a cleaner breath. Now, in order to do this, the first step I like to go through is telling swimmers to start trying to breathe behind them rather than in front of them, because the natural instinct when you're swimming is to look where you're going in front of you. Your head might be underwater, but you're looking where you're going, right? That's just sinking your legs. That's causing this curve in your spine that doesn't make you very efficient. It might even make your neck sore later, right? So if your head's forward, when you breathe, you're gonna try and look forward still. You shouldn't, but that's probably what you're going to do. You're probably gonna look somewhat forward and to the side to breathe. That's worse, right? The water's now right here by your mouth, okay? And your forehead's up, you're dropping your body, you're dropping your legs especially. So rather than looking in front of you, think about leading with the crown of your head. You don't have to look straight down. I know that's boring as all get out. You don't have to look straight down. Look on a 45-degree angle and start stretching your spine through the crown of your head, like where the little bead would be on your baseball cap, right? So you're stretching through the spine of your head. You're looking a little bit forward with your eyes. You don't need your whole head, just a little bit forward with your eyes. Okay, you're stretching. And when you breathe to the side, push down and roll a little bit backwards. So you're looking back here, okay? That's just to start. Eventually you'll get good at just breathing straight off to the side. But for the start, in order to break this bad habit of breathing in front of you and getting your mouth and your nose dangerously close to the water, what you ought to do is breathe a little bit behind you. Spot something behind you. It could be on a 45-degree angle, could be straight behind you, whatever. It's okay to overdo the correction at first. That's always okay. So now you're looking somewhat behind you. You have a nice clear spot for air, and you have no interference from the water. So you're breathing here, mouth, nose dry, and now you follow that hand. You look at your hand, you follow it back into the water. Clean breath every time, okay? Takes time, takes practice, but that's the step you ought to take before trying to breathe directly to the side. You need to overcorrect a little bit. Start breathing behind you. It just gets you used to rolling and keeping your head underwater, because when you're on your back, if you lift your head up, it's not comfortable at all. Nobody tries to do that, not usually. So when you roll to your back, you're naturally keeping your head lower in the water, which was the end goal, is to get you to start breathing to the side, keeping your head in the water. Remember earlier I started with that, saying that doesn't sound like it would work, right? You need to keep your head lower in the water in order to breathe. That's how you get there. Great question. Thank you so much. I saw some other comments coming through here. Daniel, question for chat. Would you enjoy being coached by Johnny remotely? Yeah, that's the thing, guys. Daniel's absolutely right. So I do online private coaching for you. If you want private coaching from me, you want me to be your private swim coach or instructor, if you want to learn how to swim, it's possible. What you do is you go to rocketswimming.com. We have a website. You hit book now, you hit an online lesson, and then it's just 30 minutes. I just recommend 30 minutes. I think there's a 45 and a 60-minute option. Just go with 30 minutes. That's all you need. And what we do is I get you to have someone film you swimming. Get yourself filming whatever you're working on at the time and that you need help with. Send me the footage. We'll exchange contact information, because mine's on the websites. Once you find mine and contact me, I'll have your contact information. We'll swap information. You'll send me the footage of you swimming. It can be anything that I tell you to swim, or anything that you know you need help with that you want me to analyze. I'll analyze the footage. We'll hop on a FaceTime call or a WhatsApp call, whatever, Google Hangouts. It can be anything, Zoom. I've got it all. We'll hop on a call, and we can then discuss what I see in the video and how we can improve it and what you can do personally, because everybody's body type is different. So sometimes the advice I give you is the most basic, overarching, common technique. However, I have found, like the reverse breathing technique I was just showing you, I have found a couple swimmers that doesn't work for. Everybody's different. Everybody's body type's different. Everybody learns at their own pace in a different way. There's kinesthetic learners, audio learners, visual learners. So sometimes you're two of the three, or all three, or just one of the three. And you need that personal attention from me. You'll send me the footage. We'll have a call together, and then I'll write you a workout for that week. If you're trying to go multiple times a week, I can write multiple workouts. Or we can do one workout and you can try it several times. That's usually the best way to progress, is to do the same workout multiple times. When you're an adult, as a youngster, you can mix it up so much, because you're like a sponge. You're learning so much. You can kind of retain it a lot better. But if you've heard the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. The idea is the older we get, the longer we need to spend learning something before we can grasp it, and that's okay. So take your time. Anyways, the lesson I would write for you would also include instructions for what to film next. And then you would send me that footage and we would repeat the cycle. Yeah. So it's definitely possible. Would you take coaching advice from an app? That is a great question. We have been thinking about developing an app. For chat, would you ever swim with wearable technology in order for an app to gather data on your swim style? That's another great question. These are all great questions, because we are thinking about developing an application to help people coach themselves. Maybe some sort of technology that would analyze their stroke. All right. We are moving right along here. We were discussing backstroke when there aren't any questions. Tonight the theme will be backstroke, how to keep your legs from sinking, why backstroke is such a great stroke. It's the first stroke I'll teach people. I will teach backstroke before freestyle because backstroke is the safest stroke you could possibly do. Your head's out of the water, you're breathing, everything's easy. You could call for help, you could stay like that for a while. I don't even teach treading water first. In fact, I only teach treading water upon request, which means I don't put it in any of my curriculums and I don't write it into workouts for anyone unless they request it specifically. Why? Because it's not efficient. We used to think it was the best way to survive, but it is so far from that. It's actually an exhausting exercise to be doing. To be treading water, your arms and legs straight up and down the water, you're constantly putting all your surface area straight up and down, which is pushing you downward at the most, at the strongest possible momentum, because your gravity is straight up and down. If you were to spread yourself out in the water and float on your back, you'd actually can sit there and some people can fall asleep, you know? You ought not to, but the idea is you can be so relaxed on your back that it's a far safer technique to learn. So I actually teach people backstroke first if they've never learned how to swim. Backstroke first. Learn how to be on your back. It's the way to save yourself. If ever we're learning something and you're, learning butterfly and somehow you hit your hand on a landline or just something throws you off and you start to panic a little bit, you'll know to get on your back because that's the first thing I ever taught you. That'll save your life. It'll also save you from a lot of situations of panic. Nobody likes to panic. It's scary, embarrassing. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. We're talking backstroke, but you can ask me a question about anything and I will pause and I'll go answer those questions. We also have the super chat enabled, so if anybody asks a question in the super chat, we will pause wherever we are and answer that question immediately because of the contribution made by that viewer. So if you want to skip the line and get your answer quicker, you would ask it in the super chat. Otherwise, we will answer the questions as they come in, first come, first serve, one at a time. Okay. All right, let's look at this backstroke. We have the same swimmer I showed you in the last video now. We're gonna look at the backstroke. I'm gonna talk about her arms. Earlier I talked about her kick. If she would keep her kick smaller and faster, then she would, her legs would not sink and she would go in a straighter line and she would have a much more efficient backstroke, okay? Now I'm gonna talk about her arms. There are 3 steps, 3 things. Maybe it's 4. No, I think there are 4 steps in my curriculum. There are 4 steps to a successful backstroke arm technique. The first step is big, tall arms. You want to reach up into the sky when you swim because the taller you reach in the air, the more stretched out your entire body is, which means you're going to have an easier time balancing. Okay, so stretch your arms up into the air as high as you can. Big, tall arms. Step number 2, let's replay the video. She ended up all the way on the side of the pool there. Step number 2, reach. Reach. And that is probably the most important step. I always toss it up between steps 2 and 3. Step number 2 is reach. Reach behind your head for as much water as you can grab with every single arm stroke. Don't let your arm fall off to the side and pull. Reach all the way behind your head. The farther you can get behind your head, the more water you'll pull, the faster you go, the easier it'll be because you'll take less strokes since you're pulling more water per stroke. Okay, step number 3, strong invisible hands. When your hands go underwater and they seem to disappear from the surface, they seem to have gone invisible, that is when you are pulling yourself forwards in the water. You're pulling water backwards, which is accelerating you forwards. So, big tall arms, reach, strong invisible hands. As soon as your hand enters the water, you pull the water down to your feet as strongly as possible. Big tall arms, reach, strong invisible hands. Step number 4, windmill arms. So windmill arms are keeping your hands constantly moving and never letting them pause at the bottom of your stroke. You'll see the swimmer here, she lets her hands pause down by her thighs where they take a break. Well, you don't really want to be taking a break at this point. You want to be getting your hands back up in the air. So I always like to say, put one arm behind you, one arm in front of you, and switch, 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 switch. So one hand is constantly behind you, one hand is constantly in front of you. So you're always keeping your hands opposite of one another, like a windmill. All right? Okay. Doing good, having a good time. We're gonna go for about an hour here. We've gone 20 minutes. We're gonna go for about another 40. It's an Ask Me Anything live stream. You got any questions about swimming, nutrition, dry land exercises, anything like that? I am the world's online swim coach. Moving forward, that's what we're branding this channel as. So let me know if you have any questions that I could help you with. I can also offer you private swim lessons online where you and I do a FaceTime call. You just head over to rocketswimming.com. All right. Thanks for being a part of this live stream. We are in the middle of talking about backstroke here. Now, there are some drills you can do to help fix the issues I was telling you about, like the leg sinking, the windmill arms, things like that. The drill I'm about to show you is called hand lead kicking. I usually like to start with head lead kicking, which means your arms are down by your side, chin up, and you kick with your head still. This improves a couple of things. One, it improves your balance in the water, because the stronger you kick, the easier it is to just control everything in the water. Okay, you stretch out nice and tall, you'll stay nice and balanced. The second thing a head lead kicking drill improves is your body line. When you keep your head still, your body stays in a straight line. Think of your head as like the steering wheel of a car. Wherever your head turns, your body follows. So if you turn your head to the left, it'll go to the left. You turn to the right, it'll go to the right. You push your head down, your head will go down. If you pick your head up, you'll try to go up, and then your gravity will suck you back down. And we will get on to the backstroke head lead kicking drill after I answer this question. Just Chrissy. I can't float. I always say to help. Are you floating on your stomach or your back? It would make a difference in the technique you use. I will go ahead and just answer both. When you're floating on your belly, the reason you may not be floating is because your head is probably too high. You're probably lifting your head out of the water or even keeping it out of the water so you can breathe. That's making your whole body go on an angle like this, which causes you to sink. There is less gravity in water, but there's not no gravity. There's still some. It's kind of like being on the moon. So if you're on your stomach and you're trying to float, there we go. Probably dip your head a little bit lower in the water and spread your arms and your legs out. You're trying to increase your surface area on the water, because the thinner you are, like the less surface area that you're putting out, the easier it is for you to sink. Spread out, arms, legs, stretch your fingertips, stretch your arms away from your body till it feels like your arms are being pulled by someone else. Same with your legs, stretch your legs out. Now, eventually, floating on your belly like that, your legs will start to sink, unless you're some sort of competitive elite swimmer who has such a strong core that we can keep our arms and our legs out for a lot longer than the average human. Most people, their legs will start to sink because your legs are significantly heavier than the rest of your body. So your legs will start to sink, plus your lungs are up here in your chest, keeping your upper body at the surface, because the air in your lungs is what is floating you. So they're acting like balloons. You're floating because the air in your lungs is keeping you up. Well, there are no lungs in your legs, and they're pretty much straight muscle for most people. So they'll sink faster. So what you got to do is kick a little bit. Now, I know that's not just dead floating, but whatever reason you're just dead floating in the water, I'm maybe for relaxation, I'm not sure. Maybe because someone's telling you to in order to pass a course, whatever the reason may be, just so you know, it's very, very difficult for anybody to stay in a face down floating posture without their legs sinking. If your whole body's sinking and you're just like struggling, it's probably because your head position is too high. So let your head relax in the water. I like to do this, like pull it to the right, pull it to the left, pull it up, pull it down, and then just let it plop. Float in the water like that. Relaxed head position. It's hard to relax your neck when you're not a confident or competent swimmer, but that's what you got to train yourself to do. So take a slow, deep breath above the water before you go in. Cleansing, maybe eyes closed so that you can relax the body. The less senses you have, the better. So breathe out and then let yourself relax into the water. It also helps by practicing holding on to something and getting your head to relax in the water in order to keep it in the water and not pull it up. So holding on to something and floating, relaxing your head in the water, maybe with your eyes closed, that should help relax the neck muscles a little bit to get you to loosen up and relax. But it takes time because nobody overcomes, a fear of spiders overnight. And I'm not implying anyone has a fear of water, but if you're learning to swim, that means you're out of your element. You're not in your natural comfortable zone. So it may not necessarily be a fear of water, but it will be something that's holding you back, just a lack of comfort or knowledge or experience in the water. And that's not a problem. I can't ride a horse as smoothly and gracefully as people who do that for a living. Just like most people don't look like me when they swim, and that's okay. It takes time. So if you're sinking in the water, keep your head down, learn to relax, and practice this Saturday. Thanks. You're welcome. Have someone take a video of you and send it to me. I'll analyze it, and then we'll contact, and I'll help you move forward and conquer this floating and maybe progress you even further. You can go onto my website, rocketswimming.com, and my contact information's on there. Have someone take a video of you practicing, send it to me. I'll analyze it and we'll talk. But yes, if your you keep your head in the water, help yourself relax. That'll and also increase your surface area in the water. So spread your limbs out, and that should help float you for longer. Also, take a super deep breath. Max your lungs out with air. Make yourself airtight. That means you can't fit any more air into your lungs. So breathe in as deep as you can. Once you think you're there, breathe in more. Once you think you're there, do it again. Now you're airtight. Now you'll float for a lot longer. That'll also get your head a nice little rush there. We're answering questions. And Ask Me Anything live stream. You got questions, I'll answer them. I'll be your coach. And we will help the world learn to swim with new technology, which is live streams. Eventually, I'd love to do this every single night. Be everybody's online coach every single night. Report to me your progress. Things like that. Answer the questions. Bring new people into the world of swimming so that they can save their own lives someday. Speaking of saving your life, on that topic, we were discussing backstroke as the theme tonight when no one has asked a question. If you ask a question in the chat, I'll answer it. If you ask a question in the super chat, I'll pause whatever we're doing and jump right to the super chat question and answer that for you. Skipping the line. So, backstroke, I was telling you about head lead kicking. On your back, improving your balance by kicking harder, improving your body line by keeping your head still and chin up. When you're on your back, it's the opposite of being on your belly. Everything's the opposite. Your right is now your left is your right. You're going backwards instead of forwards. You can't see where you're going. You're upside down. It's just a mess. So when you're on your back, everything's the opposite. So instead of keeping your chin tucked and stretching with the crown of your head, when you're on your back, you still kind of want to stretch with the crown of your head, but you want your chin up a little bit more, especially if you're a beginner. Until you're a competitive or an elite swimmer, that's when you would start bringing that chin back down a little bit. But as a youngster or as a beginner, an adult beginner, it's so much better to just keep your chin up, keep it dry. That keeps your body balanced. Earlier we were talking about sinking legs. If you can keep your chin up, that'll keep your legs up a lot better when you're on your back. So the second drill you would do would be hand lead kicking. So this is an example of hand lead kicking in slow motion. And this helps a swimmer extend their arms more in front of them, or extend their arms more behind them rather, increasing the surface area of their body, making them float higher in the water. And when you float higher in the water, you go faster because there's less water resistance. When your body's elevated even a centimeter out of the water, that's significantly less surface area touching the water, slowing you down. So, if you remember a long time ago in the Olympics, these swimmers were starting to wear these full body swimsuits, and then all of a sudden they're gone because they were banned. The reason was because the swimsuits were getting so advanced that people were designing the microfibers to boost your body position in the water, giving you better technique, driving your legs down more with how the weave and the fibers were connected, forcing you to have better, stronger technique, a better body position in the water. And then it got taken a step further right before the ban. The straw that broke the camel's back is when swimsuits started breathing in the air from in the suit and creating a pocket of air underneath a thin layer of the suit. So it was like a double layered suit, right? So it's creating this thin pocket of air in the suit, which was rising everybody's body in the water, giving them all the advantage of what elite swimmers train for, which is minimizing the surface area of their body touching the water by getting their body higher in the water. It's accomplished several different ways. Air in your lungs, good head position, the proper technique, all of that boosts your body in the water. Speed in general boosts your body in the water. So this backstroke technique that I'm showing you, or this drill, this handley kicking drill, is helping this swimmer create a longer body line so he rises in the water and goes a lot faster. Let's take a look. So you'll watch, he's stretching his arm back out here. His legs, his kick is still a little too big. I'd like it to be smaller than that, a tighter, faster kick. When you're on your stomach, a bigger kick is okay. When you're on your back, a tighter, faster kick is preferable. So he's stretching his arms out behind him, his one arm out behind him. The more he stretches, the better he would do, and the better his backstroke would get. And, of course, whenever we do a drill, you gotta do one arm one way and the other arm coming back. So, now he's doing the other arm back, fixing his goggles there, right there. Little equipment malfunction adjustment there. His chin is a little bit too low here. He's dropping his chin. I bet you his legs will start sinking. His hips have definitely already started sinking. If that's you, this is you, then keep that chin up. It'll keep your legs up, keep your hips up, keep your entire kick up. All right, let's go on. We're gonna take a break here in a couple of minutes and finish off the hour. Thanks to everybody participating, asking questions, getting to everybody's in the order in which they arrive. Let's freestyle. Let's go ahead and take our break now. Everybody, we will meet back here in approximately 5 minutes. So at 8:45 my time, or in 5 minutes from now, whatever time it is, where you are. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this live stream, and stay tuned. I'm gonna fill up my water bottle while I'm taking a break. All right, and we're back. Ask Me Anything live stream. If you have questions about swimming or nutrition or dryland exercises, that's what I'm here for today. In the meantime, when there aren't any questions, I will be teaching you guys some better backstroke techniques. We're gonna watch a pretty advanced swimmer do some backstroke here. Ooh, nice and slow motion and everything. Okay, so her hands come out really high and they come back really far. So earlier I was telling you the 4 tips to good, successful backstroke arms is to have your hands coming up out of the water high, having them reach back as far as you can, strong underwater hands, and a windmill arm. So arms constantly moving, not taking breaks. Okay, she does that exceptionally well. She has good, big, tall arms. She has a good reach. She has a good, strong pull, and her arms are constantly moving. This is another video. It's the same angle, but it's a different video from the one you already watched. Look at her reach back behind her head on every single one. Now, she arguably has her hands a little too flexed there. It would be better if she could relax those hands a little bit more. No problem though. Oh, she's way too close to the wall for that turn. I think she knows it. The good swimmers usually do. Okay, let's look at this head position now. You'll notice when she swims on her back, well darn. You'll notice when she swims on her back, she keeps her chin up a little bit higher. Now, from this angle, you'll notice she's already in that advanced technique where she starts to put her chin down a little bit. Most of us still need to keep our chin much higher than that. Wow, she turned too close the first time. Now she's gonna turn way too far. Okay. So the head position and how important it is on backstroke, keeping the chin up. I like to say if you feel a little bit of water trickling over your forehead, then that's the perfect head position. Other people like to say the water should be either right by your ears. Some people like to say it should be by your goggle line. That's all fine. For me, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes where that water line is, but it's much easier for me to tell if I can feel a little bit of water that every once in a while just splashes or trickles over my forehead. That means my head's far back. If that never happens to you, that means the water's hitting you like right here. So your head position is way too high. Even for an advanced technique, I would say that this head position is too high. Or I guess it would be too low since everything's the opposite when you're on your back. I would argue this head position is too low. Even though she's a great backstroker and her arm technique is impeccable, besides those flexed hands, I guess, the head position is excellent. Just a tiny bit too low. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna pull up one of Vlad's balancing videos to show you. Oh, you know what? I'll actually bring up a topic that was asked from earlier now. Earlier, someone asked about floating on their belly, and I was talking about if your head's too high, you might sink, and child treading water is so inefficient because you're just straight up and down. Vlad, who was part of the Russian Olympic national swim team, he is one of the rocket swimming instructors, and he and I were roommates for a while. He's actually married now, recently. But anyways, he did this video shoot for me where I got to show people, demonstrate this idea of your body and how it floats in the water and what's natural for it, what's not natural, things like that. When he's straight up and down, you'll notice that he doesn't really rise back up to the surface. Okay, so he'll push himself underwater. Looks like he's blowing out a lot of air. If he's straight up and down, he's sinking. He's not going to float. No one will. Okay. One more time, I think, and then we'll show you him floating. So this is him sinking straight up and down. It doesn't work so well. Here we go. All right, this is him floating. Oh, that's him standing up in the water. Let's see. There we go, he gets back up. All right, so you'll notice right now his hips are underwater because his head position is too low. He needs to get his head up a little bit higher for his legs to come up. Now he knows that. He's doing this on purpose. He's showing us, he's giving us an example. Here you'll see though that he keeps standing up before I'm ready for him to stand up. He's trying to talk to me there. When you're floating on your belly, look how he's keeping his legs stretched and his arms stretched out front. Remember I was saying earlier, the more surface area, the better. Oops, that went backwards. Ooh, this is a great example of floating on your belly. Now he's using a device here called a pull buoy. I think that's a kickboard. That is a kickboard to keep his body or to keep his legs up. So even the most advanced swimmers are not always guaranteeing their legs can stay at the surface. That's how hard it is for anybody to keep their legs at the surface. Okay, so if you feel like, oh man, my legs are always sinking or I'm always sinking, you're not alone. We're all trying to combat that. We're trying to find the best technique to keep our legs from sinking. Sometimes, if you're just practicing stretching out to improve your body position in the water to help you float better and swim higher in the water, then it's okay to put a little kickboard or a pull buoy in between your legs or your ankles or your feet like this to help keep them up as you stretch your spine. This is so therapeutic and an amazing body position. Obviously, all of us are looking at that going, yeah, I don't look like that. And that is okay. Good, I'm glad we got to go through some of those Vlad videos. He is going to start a dry land, what do I want to call it? A dry land branch of rocket swimming at some point. More Vlad videos. All right, so for those of you who want to know what to do, dry land exercises, if you don't have access to water, there's a lot of things you can do. Here's one thing. This will strengthen your core and your back, okay? Putting your hands behind your head and kicking, putting your arms out and streamlining kicking. The dog will not help with your dry land exercises. That's old Rocket Bear, which I think he's around here somewhere. I'll give you guys a little hello to him soon. These are all things, though, that you should do for like 10 to 30 seconds. He's just showing you a couple of seconds worth. But these are great dry land exercises for those of you who are don't have a pool or access to water to swim in and practice frequently. Hands behind his head. I'll go into a streamline soon, maybe. Whoa. He's holding that for a while. That's harder than you think. Streamline. This is my favorite one. Doing streamline kicks on your stomach and your back, I like. I also really like yoga. If you're looking for any sort of swimming supplement dryland program, I would start with, actually, I would probably start with yoga. I would say weights, but I would probably start with yoga. Everybody needs to be stretched out and balanced. It's better, it's healthier for you, even in the weight room. So I would say start with yoga and then move into the weight room to really get a complete dryland supplement to your swimming. Here we go again. This guy's a monster. The Streamline Kick. Now that's the hardest one. Moving your arms back and forth like that without letting your hands or your elbows touch the floor, the ground. That's hard. That's Vlad. Ah, good. Stuff for the back. Stuff for being on your back, rather. These I would probably like more than the ones on your stomach. Doing streamline kicks like that on your back, even with your arms by your side, is super healthy. If you really want stability and health, you would put your hands underneath your bottom or on the floor next to your thighs. Then being able to lay down and do it in a streamline is impressive. Being able to sit up like that is obviously impressive, but it's all working different core muscles, lower core, mid core, upper core. So if you're trying to get a full ab workout, you would want to go at like 45-degree angle. But like I said, you want to do all three, laying down, all the way up, and a 45-degree angle. And I don't recommend going laying down, 45-degree angle up. I recommend going down, up, 45-degree angle last. So it's hard. You can see his face right here. Just from that example. He's tired. That's hard. It's hard to do. We'll make you stronger real fast. Starting down. Coming up. Oh man, without putting his hands down to come up like that is super hard. You'll notice the harder he kicks, the easier it is for you to balance in that posture. There you go. He doesn't look so in pain now. Now he looks like he's having fun. Now, how does that look in the water? It's a little bit something like this. A deep driving kick, stretching your arms out. Look how his head is below his arms. That is preparing him for a more efficient freestyle. When he starts using his arms, if his head can stay in that position, his body will actually stay higher in the water, because your head being in the water helps the rest of your body float. When your head comes out of the water, that's when you start to sink. Do it with one arm down. That's helpful. Once you get good at having both hands on the wall, put one hand down by your side. Do it again. You're going to be a lot more off balance than you realize. You may think, oh, that's not going to be that much different. It's different. Having to balance yourself with less support, half the support, you might say, because before you had two hands on the wall, now you only have one. That's half the support. That means your core is going to have to be a lot more engaged. You're going to have to stretch out a lot more in order to keep your legs up. He's also got a pretty big, deep kick. His feet barely come above the water. He's not bringing them up super high. He's not keeping his legs straight either. I hear too many coaches say legs straight. That's only for little kids who have a hard time not running in the water. They try to run in the water instead of kick. So you tell them straight legs, you know. Helps them get their feet out behind them, but you don't want straight legs once you've figured out how to swim efficiently. You don't want straight legs. You want some knee bend. You want there to be a whip in your kick, like Indiana Jones's whip. All right, we're only going to go for about 9 more minutes here, so if anybody has any questions they wanted answered tonight, go ahead and ask them now. We'll go final call for questions, last round. Vlad here is doing the one-arm kicking again. Let's see. So now this is him doing all those kicking exercises that we just watched, but without the wall, without the help of the wall. It's really hard for him to keep his legs up. It's hard for anyone to keep their legs up. He stretches his fingertips as far in front of him as he can, and he stretches his toes as far behind him as he can. But even him, a national Russian swim team member, his legs will sink because his lungs are in his chest, not his legs. His legs are just meat muscle. They're sinking. The only way he's going to get him back up is if he kicks. I'm not sure if that's what he demonstrates here in this video because we haven't put this through post and edited it and put out a video with explanation. But you can see here how his legs are already sunk, even with his arms out in front of him. That's the best way to keep your legs up if you're not going to kick, is to get your arms out in front of you and stretch everything out as much as you can. Okay? But everybody has sinking legs. It's okay. No problem. All you do to keep them up is kick a little bit and keep your arms out in front of you. So if you're swimming freestyle, just do a superhero freestyle or catch-up freestyle, where one hand waits out in front for the other hand to catch up to it. Once it tags up at the side by side, then the other one can pull again. All right. Let's see if we get on where he demonstrates bringing them back up to the surface. That's with the pull buoy in, that's cheating. This one's on his back, pull buoy. I don't want pull buoy example. Here we go, all right. Another good example of everybody's legs sinking when they're on their back. It's very common. You're not the only one. So he's stretched out on his back. He's not kicking. He doesn't have any flotation support, like a pull buoy or kickboard or a device like that. He is simply trying to stay at the surface of the water the best he can without moving on his back. So he's got a deep breath in his lungs. He's stretching his hands out behind him as much as he can. You can see even there, it's hard for anybody to balance in this position. The water kind of moves you around, right? So even the most elite swimmers in the world are practicing what you're having troubles accomplishing. But you'll see his legs are sinking because even on your back, your legs will sink no matter who you are. He's doing his best to keep them up by stretching, but unless he kicks, they will sink eventually. It's just so hard to keep them up. His body's also having a hard time just balancing naturally. It's not an easy thing to do for anyone, not even when you're elite. It's still a balancing act at times. Okay, here's an example of them sinking and then him kicking in order to bring them back up to the surface. Okay, they've sunk, he starts to kick. Watch them come back up to the surface. His knees are already making an appearance at the surface. Now he's going to stretch back out again. They sink a little bit. He kicks very lightly. You don't have to kick much. Very lightly. He kicks a little bit. They come back up. He stretches back out. You'll see they're starting to sink again though. So unless he kicks again, they're going to keep sinking. Most people think that they're trying to engage their core in order to keep their legs up. While that's true, there's a better way of doing it than just clenching your stomach like you're flexing your abs. The best way to do it is to stretch. The more you stretch your body and your muscles, the more muscles engage to help keep that imbalanced posture of a stretch. A stretch is an imbalanced posture. You don't feel comfortable. You're not like at homeostasis. Your heart raises a little bit. something doesn't feel right, you're a little imbalanced, even if it's just an arm stretch, it's not a normal posture to be in. So the more you stretch, the more muscles that are engaged to help out to keep you balanced. So you think, hey, if I want to stop sinking, I need to like flex the right muscles, but rather you should probably just stretch out in the water and watch your surface area bring you back up to the surface. Is there any advantage in doing the single arm backstroke as opposed to the double arm? I actually prefer that way. Single arm backstroke. If you wouldn't mind clarifying, single arm backstroke like one arm at a time single arm backstroke, or single arm backstroke like literally just using one arm and not the other? Because if that's what you mean, you can do that all you want. That arm just might get tired after a while. It's not as efficient either, and you might find yourself constantly bumping into something to the opposite side. But if you mean double arm backstroke like this, yeah, that's not very efficient either. Pulling both arms back might give you that satisfying boost every time you pull, but it's not an efficient form of backstroke. The most efficient form of backstroke is one. Both arms, I mean, is it faster? No. Doing both arms at the same time is not faster. You may feel like it is because you feel that burst every time you pull, but what you're really feeling is water resistance. So the less water resistance you feel when you swim, usually the faster you're going, assuming you're moving. If you're just sitting still, obviously you're not going to feel that much water resistance. But if you're moving in the water and you feel a ton of resistance, that means you're either going faster or more than likely, what you're actually feeling is an inefficiency in your stroke because something is slowing you down. Now, let's say you're the most efficient swimmer in the world. You're still going to feel that resistance when you start going really fast. That resistance is just the head or the water pressing against their head in the right spot, or against their hand in the right spot. But the idea is you want to get as close to not feeling any resistance as possible. So pulling both arms down, what you're feeling is a lot of resistance from your head plowing through water and breaking the water's surface tension. The faster way of doing it would be one hand splashing behind you, disrupting the water tension with your hand, which is shaped like an arrow. Splashes, disrupts the water tension, your head then goes through it a lot smoother. So keeping one hand constantly splashing behind you by using both arms one at a time to stroke is the most efficient way. It's faster because it keeps the water disrupted, which allows your head to plow through faster. And secondly, one arm then the other allows one arm to kind of be resting. There's a recovery part of the stroke, which is right here, while the other arm is underwater pulling. Secondly, like a bicycle, one paddle than the other is more efficient, or a kayak, right? More efficient than both arms having to go at the same time. It's one of the reasons why butterfly is so inefficient. It's because both arms have to go at the same time, and they're both coming out of the water at the same time, trying to rest at the same time, and then pulling out of the water, trying to work at the same time. Freestyle is more efficient because it's one paddle at a time. Our bodies also do a better job of rotating on a longer axis than they do rotating on a shorter axis. That's more like dolphins, whales, things like that. They can rotate back and forth and go fast. We as humans prefer the side roll. We're faster when we twist back and forth. Part of that is just because we're more efficient that way, and part of it is because our bodies, the way our body is created, our paddles acting one at a time is more efficient for us, considering their girth, their size, and their mobility in the shoulder. So one arm, one than the other is faster, not both arms at the same time. Faster and more efficient. Well, that is all we had. Wow, really, it seems faster. No, sorry, it's not. That is all we had time for tonight, guys. Thanks for joining this live stream. Appreciate everyone being here. We have a new video coming on Thursday, per our usual upload time. Also, if you want, you can follow us over on Instagram and TikTok. A lot shorter videos there. Tell you something quick, maybe a quick tip or something. Usually it's just something I've gathered, footage I've gathered while coaching, as well as maybe I have an idea. I'm like, you know what, this is something that this swimmer in front of me is working on, as well as my YouTube community. After that lesson, I usually just whip out the phone, take a quick video, tell you what's going on. So you can follow those quick little videos over on Instagram and TikTok, just at Rocket Swimming, of course. And then for these full-length videos, they come on Thursdays. The live streams typically come on Mondays, barring any exceptions. But thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for subscribing, being part of the channel, and we will see you in the next live stream or check out my video on Thursday. All right? Go rock it.